Hello and welcome to Off the Bit for the Spring Carnival of 2016. It is great to have your company. Episode 1, we have a huge show for you. Our special guest is Robbie Griffiths. We'll also have the boss of the Warrnambool Racing Club. Plenty of news going on down that way, live in the studio. And as you can see, it is a star-studded panel. So let's get cracking on Off the Bit. Hello, Off the Bit is brought to you by Country Racing Victoria. It is racing the way it's meant to be. It's part of a great day out that has got it all. So make sure you go to countryracing.com.au to book now. And CrownBet, CrownBet Rewards. Join today at crownbet.com.au and reward yourself. As I mentioned earlier, welcome to the show, two stars of the turf. 15-time Group 1 winning jockey Simon Marshall. Great to have you here, Simone.
Yeah, you got to add the size produce when it was Group 1, Michael, so that'll be 16.
But that's short.
No, that's all right. Nice to mention Lock Ray there for Gerald Ryan. I am really looking forward to a great show and, as always, love catching up with Katelyn.
Katelyn Mallyon, only the second female to outright her claim, two-time apprentice-winning champion jockey. Great to have you on the desk.
Thank you. It's so great to be here with you guys, and of course you wouldn't have let Michael forget that last elusive Group 1.
Oh, they're hard to get, aren't they, Katelyn? You know?
I wouldn't mind one.
Yeah, well, you've ridden in a couple, but Off the Bit, what a great show we have in store, eh?
Yeah, absolutely. I can't wait to get stuck into the next 12 weeks, and how exciting. Springtime's here, and seeing all the good horses, it's so exciting.
And I would imagine that Katelyn will probably highlight in a number of our features over the next 12 weeks, because she'll be riding plenty of winners. But Simon, it's been a cracking year in the country so far. What's your highlight so far?
Well, each week I think I'm going to bring a little bit of fun and flare the show up a little bit, and none better than Bryce Stanaway, the Stanaway Files. Did you hear him blowing up at Sale recently? Black Soul was the horse that won the race. Let's have a little look at Bryce Stanaway at his brilliant best.
But this horse is a handy sort of horse. He should have been winning more races, but they've been running our stone races around our goat tracks, like 2,400 metre races at Maui, and then we come here and you go around a beautiful track, and the furthest race is 1,700 metres or something. And like Bendigo the other week, the furthest flat race was 1,700 metres, and they want to run our stone races around goat tracks, and they reckon they're trying to improve our stone races and give us a chance of getting a Melbourne Cup horse. We've got no show.
Bryce, you've done it again. I'll tell you what, though, Cliff's Dream was another horse that ran at Mornington, and he blew up about not being able to change jockeys after the horse was backing up after wins. So, Bryce, you're a great character of racing, and he speaks his mind.
The most important thing, though, were the sandwiches all right?
Yes, the sandwiches were okay. Remember Sandwich Gate there at Pakenham when they opened up Racing.com Park. There wasn't any left for him, so he blew up.
We love characters in racing, so keep it going, Bryce. That's what keeps our racing so interesting. Now, I'm very interested to find out what your highlight is, Katie, so far.
My highlight this year was winning the Golden Mile at Bendigo. So I was happy aboard Nevis, and it was very exciting, and also winning I rode a double that day, and I won on written for Mick Ken in the Golden Bracelet. So it was a great day back in March, and yeah, I'm just looking forward to Nevis this week.
Yeah, well, he's gaining fitness as he grows into the spring there, and he's a good horse when he's fit. But Michael, you've got a moment for us?
My favourite moment, without doubt, was Miss Vista. I know I'm jumping on the bandwagon, but it was $15 you could have got this day on debut. Georgie Osborne came on radio that morning. He basically declared it. She started at $7, and she is now a cult hero. Only 2 starts, 2 beautiful wins, and her unbelievable markings. I believe, Katie, you've had a fashion shoot with her as well.
I did have a fashion shoot with her, and she's a little feisty. She's, you know, I was in stiletto heels, and she sort of wanted to rear up and jump on me, but she's obviously a sprinter, and I hope she goes on and wins bigger races.
Well, the great thing is we're going to see her back in action at Caulfield this Saturday, so that is going to be one of many highlights for this weekend's racing, without a doubt.
It's great to see her just last week have a gallop on the grass in between races at Caulfield, and the people came from near and far just to get a photo and have a look at her, and she's got that beautiful little blue eye, but she's full of steam. She's pretty cheeky, isn't she?
Yeah, she certainly is, and I'm sure that George has got her flying, and I just hope that Ben Allen can keep the ride and go on and win bigger races.
And if he doesn't, you'll be right there.
Of course.
Hey, speaking of news, for the first time this year, we welcome racing.com journalist Kate Watts with all the country racing news and current affairs. Over to you, Kate, and welcome.
Thanks so much, Michael. I'm very excited to be on board. It's going to be a great show. And what a big weekend in racing it was. A Country Cup win has now thrust Michelle Payne into contention for Spring Carnival glory. The Melbourne Cup winning jockey celebrated her first win since returning to the saddle, taking out the $30,000 Coleraine Cup aboard the Luke Oliver-trained Birds of Tokyo. It was Payne's 6th race back 4 months after her nasty and potentially career-ending fall at Mildura, which resulted in her having to have that pancreatic surgery. There had been a lot of questions whether or not Michelle, who turns 31 later this week, would return to riding. And while those questions seem to have now been answered, it will be interesting to see whether or not she gets back on any premier rides during the Spring Carnival, and with a big focus if she will reunite with Prince of Penzance and if the two could partner again in a Melbourne Cup. Prince of Penzance himself finished 9th in Saturday's Underwood Stakes, and the plan has been to run him next in the Cranbourne Cup. But Darren Weir now looks likely to be toying with the idea of running him instead in the Herbert Powers Stakes on Caulfield Guineas Day, October 8. It was another great weekend for the Ballarat-based trainer, scoring a treble at Moonee Valley on Friday night and another Metro treble at Caulfield on Saturday, including a Group 1 win with Blackheart. But in the Underwood Stakes, there had been questions whether or not the 6-year-old could run out the distance, but he showed he was more than comfortable at 1,800 metres, and it has perpetuated the question this week whether or not he is now a serious Cox Plate contender for the mighty mare Winks. But it wasn't a clean sweep of the weekend's races for Weir, with Master Zephyr falling short in Saturday's Matoa Cup, losing to the Kieran Maher-trained Pemberley. Pemberley had gone in as the $1.95 favourite and didn't disappoint, winning his 2nd Country Cup since joining Kieran Maher's stable in March from Peter Moody. I spoke to the former Winslow trainer yesterday, and he says he's pretty sure the 5-year-old will next race in the Moe Cup on Thursday, October 13, as he tries to win his 3rd straight Country Cup after also taking out the Sheep Hills Cup at the start of September. Meanwhile, Underground Fighter had a dominant win in Sunday's Great Western Steeple at Coleraine. The Tony Rossellini-trained gelding won a proverbial country mile, some 15 lengths, with a perfect ride with jockey Lee Horner. The race was the horse's 8th start in the campaign, with the signs of showing down for the 6-year-old. And Racing Victoria yesterday announced that the Gunbower Cup meeting scheduled for this Friday has been abandoned due to the state of the track following significant rainfall. The Gunbower track had received 200 millimetres of rain over the past month, 20 millimetres of which had been fallen in the past week. An inspection of the track determined that it was not a suitable condition to hold the meeting, and there was no reasonable prospect of the track drying before Friday due to that forecast weather. Racing Victoria says it will explore available options to reschedule the meeting throughout the remainder of the Spring Carnival, but it hasn't really guaranteed that it will happen. I suppose, guys, what do you think? There's no denying that a lot of meetings through this winter and now into the spring have been abandoned because of that heavy rain, but it seems a bit different with the Country Cup, doesn't it? How important do you think it is that the Gunbower Gold Cup gets run?
Highly important, because it's big for the community and the local people too. It's not just you know, the participants in racing. All the local retailers and shops and people that live around that province all get involved, and it's all part of, you know, building up a great part of the neck of the woods.
Have you ridden at Gunbower, Simon?
No, I haven't ridden at Gunbower, Katie.
I was lucky, yeah. I've ridden in the Gunbower Cup before, and it's,
really?
As you said, like, the community really gets behind the meeting, and it's amazing how many people get out there.
Well, I've got a funny feeling that they will find another date for it, because it is an iconic race meeting, and we've got a special guest a little later in the show who is the Gunbower Cup, Mr Gunbower Cup, Jack Styring, who has called a world record 60 Gunbower Cups. So we'll hear from Jack a little later. Just quickly, another bit of news from Kate, and it's been going on for such a long time. Michelle Payne, Prince of Penzance, do you think she'll get back on, or should she get back on for a Melbourne
By the way, congratulations, Kate. That was a lot of news happening in the country. Look, it's good to see Michelle back in the saddle. It's good to see Michelle's work ethic and work rate going out to all of these country racetracks. Birds of Tokyo is a terrific horse, by the way. He won by about 7 lengths in Sydney on a heavy track. Luke Oliver's done a magnificent job in conditioning this horse. See him get on the running rail with Michelle there, and she had a little bit of an awkward moment where the horse's legs got tangled up. But she's getting her eye in. She's starting to get back to peak fitness. And you know what it's like. You can do so much work physically outside of the saddle, but it's race day that counts, Katelyn.
Exactly right.
And now she's training. There may be a chance she's got a potential Oaks runner as well, so that would be a huge story. Kate, thanks again for all the news. We look forward to your input throughout this year's series on Off the Bit. We're going to head to a break. On the other side of this, Robbie Griffiths, live in studio special guest. Off the Bit brought to you by CrownBet Rewards. Join today at crownbet.com.au and reward yourself. Welcome back to Off the Bit, proudly supported by Country Racing Victoria. It's racing the way it's meant to be. It's a great day out. That's got it all. So go to countryracing.com.au to book now. I'm excited. We have Group 1 winning trainer Robbie Griffiths joining us on the desk. Does that still sound good, does it, Robbie?
It does, Michael. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for joining us. Starting to hot up now in the spring, and your stable is ready to launch.
Yeah, well, we hope so. The young ones are going well, and we haven't had a lot of runners, but we've been hitting the mark and they've been winning, so it's been fantastic. And our stable stars ticking over beautifully and returns on the weekend.
Well, I guess winning Group 1 races helps you buy new things, Robbie, and tell us about the new stabling blocks there at Cranbourne. It's a phenomenal setup now.
It is. It's sensational. It's the envy of any trainer that comes down to have a look at it. They certainly don't want to leave, and it's just a sensational complex, and it's doing its job. The 3 trainers that have moved in thus far as myself, Greg Urell and Trent Bussett, and all the horses are absolutely flying in all 3 stables. So everything that we wanted to achieve in design we have, and the horses are happy, and a happy horse runs fast.
And you had a Group 3 winner on Friday night with Jai McNeil riding Selenia.
Yes, Katelyn. She was really good. She's a nice filly that was a stakes winner at 2. And whether they come back at 3 and go on, take the next step. And she did a really good job Friday night because, as you can see here, she was flush 3 wide from the halfway mark, and for her to kick off the bend the way she did was sensational and sustain that speed. So very happy, and my wife and daughter in ownership too, so we had some very exciting times.
I bet they would have been excited. I actually had a ride in the race, and I thought that her win was excellent because they sort of ran along early, and she sat 3 wide outside the leaders, and she was really strong to the line, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was, and strength is probably what she lacked a bit as a 2-year-old in the 2-year-old autumn prep. So to see her work hard and still kick gives us a lot of encouragement moving forward for the spring.
Robbie, tell me, horses are flying on track. Why is that? Can you just tell us, the viewers that are watching back at home, what is it about horses being trained on a track? Is it more comforting that they walk out of their home, they can see the track there around that natural environment rather than transporting them from your property?
Well, I think that in our case, the stables themselves are unbelievably relaxed. The horses, we've got high roofs, a lot of airflow. Most of the horses have up to 5 mates, so they're naturally a herd animal by nature. So they're very content, and then there's no added pressure or anxiety of travelling. So at the end of the day, they're very, very happy horses, and that's reflecting in their race form.
Yep, and obviously marketing your stable is key, and to get owners out. Tell us about the setup, the balcony that overlooks the track for people at home.
I think our CEO, Neil Bainbridge, calls it the display home. He takes everyone there, and my wife decorated it, so it's got a little bit more class than the average stable. But it overlooks the track, so you can clock horses from any angle. And on top of at the balcony where it overlooks the track, directly below is where all the staff work. So everything's at your fingertips, and it's absolutely sensational. And anyone that has a look at it would be blown away with it.
Is there Barbie there on Friday mornings or Saturday mornings?
Saturday morning. One of the owners in Selenia, Bobby Lewis, we get in there cooking, so he was there. He was a little bit under the weather Saturday, but he was there cooking. So
good on him. Well, you've been a brilliant trainer for a long time, a successful trainer for a long time, but that elusive Group 1 had been very difficult to come by. Did you ever think prior to this, and we're going to look at this and take us through your thoughts, that this day wasn't going to come?
I thought it was never going to happen because in my first Group 1 runner was in '94 and he ran third and was unlucky. And I remember Dean Lester saying, geez, if you've gone that close at your first attempt, it won't take long to get a win. And it was the ultimate early crow. It was 21 and a half years later. We've been runner-up so many times and so close with Angelic Light and Lankan Rupee, and there was just a host of runner-ups, you know. But anyway, it made the win so much more special when it did happen.
And hasn't he been a wonderful horse? I rode Charmed Harmony in that race, and you know, I thought doing the form with Blackheart Bard and Chautauqua obviously being superstars in the race, you know, he really showed his dominance and he won well, didn't he? He
did, you know, and we were so confident going into the race, and I know it's all easy to say afterwards and things like that, but he's such a strong horse with fantastic Flemington form, and he broke 43 seconds his last 800 in the Oakley Plate, and he was just ticking over beautifully, and we thought, you know, you can't be super confident in races like that when you're running against superstars like Chautauqua and Blackheart Bart, but, you know, we were really happy with him, and he delivered, so it was fantastic, and it was a fantastic all the way around, you know, not just because it was my first Group 1 winner, but the people in him as well, you know. Rick Jamieson bred him, and I used to train for Rick. Peter Ford, my mate, bought him with me. I just got out of hospital at Cabrini at the time, and Dean Lester's in the ownership, and you know, there's a whole group of emotions that roll around.
And especially with Matthew Allen riding him works. I know he does a lot of work for your stable.
He does, and you know, with him riding him, and he was cheering at home. He couldn't ride the weight, of course, being 52 kilos, but you know, he'll ride him in the Gilgai on the weekend, so it'd be great.
Robbie, let's peel it back, mate, because you grew up at a famous little property down there at Devon Meadows, born into a racing family, and this is a big dream for you because you followed the path of your brother Rodney, who was a champion jockey, Rodney Griffiths, and then decided to become an apprentice yourself, but like the best of us, mate, we got too heavy. What made you decide to train?
Well, it was a natural progression, you know, and at the end of the day, I wanted to be in racing. I actually wanted to be a vet early days, but fell in love with the idea of being a jockey when I was helping my brother on, you know, weekends and school holidays and stuff like that. So I followed in his footsteps literally. He was a superstar, and I had a weight problem, still have it. But anyway, so I didn't last long. But my boss, Bob Scarlett, at the time gave me some great advice, and he said to me,
Robbie,
I was only 14 and 34 kilos when he started, and he said I'll get too heavy, and I couldn't work that one out. But 12 months later, I went from a size 4 foot to size 8 and grew a lot, and next minute I was struggling. So with that in mind, I was very fortunate that he moved to Morty Alec Epsom Training Centre, and I got to look at all these fantastic trainers, and with his help and watching everybody else, I got a pretty good head start on where I wanted to be, and that's when it all sort of kicked off.
AJ Vasil was a great mentor.
He was. I was foreman there. I was stable rider for Tony until I couldn't ride any longer, and Rodney actually took over that role. And they had a lot of success for many years, and I only left Tony, you know, in the early days because there was a recession, and you know, I made some poor decisions and lost everything and had to start from scratch and couldn't do it on wages. So we're great mates, but left there and started our own business, Sharani and I at Cranbourne, and thought if we can work our way through the recession, we might come out the other end okay, and it's worked out that way.
Tell me, Robbie, so Cheryl McCarthy's obviously got a big role in your stable and the whole operation, and she won the Ladies in Racing Award at the start of the year, which I was a part of, and which is a great initiative. And what does she mean to your stable? Yeah,
well, Cheryl does a fantastic job. We met Cheryl through racing and ownership, and she's got a great passion for it, so she steps into do some owner liaison role and also put some partnerships together, and works in conjunction with Sarah in our office and my wife Sharani and so on to do a lot more than just you know, just be part of the ownership. So, and we've been fortunate on the way. We've had some good horses where she's in Selenia and she's in Angelic Light and some good horses like that. So she's very passionate about it, and that passion shows, and it was really great to see her win that award earlier in the year. It was fantastic.
And let's be honest, Katelyn's been very nice here. She's still a little dirty, you've got that, don't
you? Not to Cheryl, because I always see Cheryl at the races, and she's just, you know, she's just a breath of fresh light, isn't she? She's always getting around and happy with everything. It's just great to see such a passionate woman.
I should have taken the trifecta. I should have taken the trifecta.
Exactly right.
Kaz Morford's an owner and has spelled our horses for years. Caitlin's ridden winners for us, so I should have taken the trifecta.
Yeah. Kaz, of course, is the wife of Drew Morford, the famous commentator, and they're doing a brilliant job with our agistment as well. You mentioned the quarterback. He's back on Sunday. Let's have a look at some of the horses to follow from the stable because they are flying at the moment. The quarterback's been trialling brilliantly. What are you expecting the Gilgai?
Well, I'm hoping he's forward enough to win, we've got to keep some energy up our sleeve to be in better condition going into the Manikato and then again the Darley Classic. He normally kicks off first up in 1,000, but this time we've gone straight into the 12. But he's had a couple of really solid trials where he's trialled incredibly well. So we're looking forward for a good run on the weekend with room for improvement. And then, that's what we're looking for.
I was very impressed with the recent win of that Terranda on the provincial circuits. Where's it heading?
He's going, well, I might be ambitious and have a crack at a Blue Sapphire, but whether it's it's probably too big a leap from yesterday's maiden win. He did win by a very big margin, so we might go a sensible approach. We'll leave it up to his mannerisms in training, and there's a couple of good fillies there to follow up, as you can see with Selenia and so on.
There's one I want to follow, Arias. She was in the same race as Selena down the straight, but just better on a bend as well, would she be?
I think so. I walked away from Flemington sort of a bit shell-shocked, because I thought Arias would beat Selenia that day, and she did. But one ran 8th and one ran 11th, which was a bit of a shock. But we put the blinkers on Selenia, and I think Arias just didn't like going down the straight. That's what Ryan Maloney thought about it. So we head to Caulfield Grand Final day, and she drops back in grade, and hopefully that'll get her into the winner's stall and then return to stakes racing later on in the spring.
Robbie, thank you for taking the time to come into the studio, and best of luck over the Spring Carnival. If you want to find more out about Griffiths Racing and you want to race a horse with Griffiths Racing, there is the website, griffithsracing.com.au. Good luck for the spring, Robbie.
Thanks, Michael.
Robbie Griffiths there, Group 1 winning trainer, joining us on Off the Bit. We're going to take a short break. On the other side, the boss of the Warrnambool Racing Club, Pete Downs, will be here in the studio. Welcome back to Off the Bit for Crown Bet. Reward yourself. You can reward yourself a Crown Bet, but you can also reward yourself by heading down to Warrnambool for one of the great race meetings of the year. And of course, that is the Carnival in May. Joining us now is the CEO from Warrnambool, Pete Downs. Thanks for making the trip up here, mate.
No dramas at all. Thanks a lot for having me on. Looking forward to it.
Now you've made it, mate, when you've hit off the bit. You know that, don't you?
It has come up right up there with my greatest life highlights, so hopefully we go well through it.
Just 12 months into the job, or not quite 12 months. If your first year as CEO at Warrnambool, how are you going?
Yeah, it is. Just coming on 12 months now, so the first year's been fantastic so far. There's been quite a bit of excitement. We had a record May Carnival. We've had issues with the beaches. We've had Group 1s, one from down at Warrnambool. We've had everything in 12 months, and a Melbourne Cup as well, mind you. So it's been very big.
It's been a whirlwind 12 months for you, and you've had plenty of issues to deal with. And the one at the moment that has everyone talking is the beach down there. The trainers have currently been barred or restricted from using the beaches down there, Levy's Bay and so forth. I know you've had a lot of discussions last week. Where were we at?
Yeah, look, it's been a really big couple of weeks. I think there's probably 3 or 4 different issues all going on that unfortunately have all hit ahead at the same time. So, Lady Bay Beach, they're still allowed to have full access out there. New rules have been slightly restricted on that. One of the biggest ones that's really hit the headlines is Levy's Point or the Dunes. We had a letter from Aboriginals Victoria about a fortnight ago stating that they thought there was sites of significance or heritage significance in the area, and on the back of that they said if you continue to use it or the Warrnambool City Council issue any permits to use it out there, the council can be fined 1.5 million and any trainers about 300 grand. So that made them stop it initially instantly.
How does that come about and become aware right now, when everything seemed to be going swimmingly, pardon the pun?
Yeah, look, it's been going great. I think how it's come about is just off the back of the pure success of it all. It's been every winner really big win Weary has seems to come from the beach. So he's sort of in the media about it all. Kieran Maher obviously been very successful down there, plus a number of other trainers. So on the back of that, it's getting a bit more media, and Parks Victoria were aware that it was happening. They were making a review, and then on the back of that, I guess the whole beach area is the Belfast Coastal Reserve, which is about 40 kilometres of beach area, and so they know there's sites of significance in that 40 k's there, but they don't know where. So on the back of that, they've just put out a bit of a blanket rule to say be careful.
Pete, how many horses on average a day work at the beach?
Look, we've got 250 down in Warrnambool there. We get about 120 onto the track, and I think spread over about the 4 different beaches, there might be 100 horses going to the beaches at different times, so pretty significant.
Is there a concern that the likes of Darren Weir will leave Warrnambool if this doesn't get rectified, and do you think you will get an amicable situation or solution?
Look, going on the back of Friday's meeting with Parks Victoria, Aboriginal Victoria and both of the councils, among other people, it was a very positive meeting. We're hopeful there is a resolution available there, but there will be time and a bit of a process that we have to take from getting from where we are now to getting access back available in the dunes. But I do think it's a realistic thing. On the back of, do I think Weary and the likes will leave? Certainly that's been played out in the media a little bit. If we can't get the dunes open, he may, but in saying that, I think he's won a fair few group runs in a while, and a lot of them are coming from Warrnambool, so I don't think he'd make a snap decision to leave tomorrow.
So they can use the water, but they can't just use the gallop up the dune?
They can use the water, they can use the beach for galloping at Lady Bay, they can use the beach in other areas along there, so an area up at Port Fairy, also some areas around Killarney, so it's only specifically one dune or one area that we're talking about that's off access now.
Okay, and that's the key to the dune there, Michael, because they're able just to open up and keep that weight off their legs and get up that hill with the sand dunes. Now tell me, obviously there's light at the end of the tunnel with the redevelopment there at Warrnambool too, which might help guys and girls stay around there.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got a number of great redevelopments coming up at the moment. We've got a synthetic fibre sand track coming in. That's worth about $1.5 million and hope to start in the next few months. We've been talking to Racing Victoria and we're very hopeful of getting a new grass trialling track there worth about $3 million. They've been very supportive of that, but we obviously need to keep the horse numbers in the area there. So hopefully we can keep working forward to. It won't mean that horses are off the beach completely, but it just means there'll be some extra areas and extra resources locally for them to use.
And the Gallop fibre track's going to get upgraded?
Yeah, it will. So at the moment we've got a pretty poor conditioned gallop track there. It doesn't drain very well. When it's dry it sort of blows away a little bit, so we do have funding promised to us for that, but it's just about getting the right steps in place, but hoping to see that build start pretty shortly.
Very good.
Now, Pete, now obviously Caulfield and Flemington, they're shrinking in terms of training on course. Has there been a lot of interest for trainers wanting to come to Warrnambool, and in particular with these redevelopments that are happening?
Yeah, look, around the success of the beaches and the hopeful redevelopments we've got coming on, we have had a lot of big trainers knocking on our door asking for any new stables to come available. We're looking at building some new 30 and 40 complex stable sites on course, so we've got to work really hard while Caulfield and Flemington are still in place to make sure we are a mecca centre of training in the state over the next 3 or 4 years, and hopefully we're there to take up the slack.
Well, there's no doubt Warrnambool is the greatest country carnival of the year in May, and the centrepiece is the Grand Annual, and one man who makes it so special is Rick McIntosh. Have a listen to his call of this year's Grand Annual.
Fasten your seatbelts. This is the Grand Annual, and they're away. Up the hill they go. The legs are starting to hurt here. Manitone's the leader. Valediction is second. No Song, No Supper's third and Regina Celli fourth. Then Thurbian the outside. I still couldn't tell you who's going to win. There's 10 left to jump in the Grand Annual. There's only 4 lengths first to last. This is amazing. It's still the Valediction going to the lead. Manitone. No Song, No Supper hasn't made his move. Neither has Thurbian. He's 2 lengths to Baltimore. No Song, No Supper just. Baltimore, the South Australian, he's coming after him. No Song, No Supper. Baltimore, he's trying. No Song, No Supper. No Song, No Supper, but a Grand Annual.
It is phenomenal. Any truth to the rumour that you've been able to get Strepsils on board as his main sponsor?
Mate, we're going to try absolutely everything. He puts every bit of it into the Grand Annual, doesn't he? He loves it.
You know what though? It brings so many people that wouldn't normally watch the coverage, and news outlets and media outlets, Michael, they grab hold of that. Absolutely. Because it sounds like you're listening to a UFC or you know, a major boxing bout, doesn't it? It's a great event.
It's unbelievable. He does it in the Grand Annual, but he does it in every other race. All the jumpers, he really throws his passion into it.
He seems like he's in so much pain when he's...
He's a great grandstand jockey. Get you involved.
I've worried about him fainting in the tower before, but...
That's very true. Tell us what highlights you've got coming up soon down here at the Bull.
Yeah, look, we've got a great summer carnival coming up. We've taken over a metro meeting from Ballarat next week. We've also got our Oaks Day feature race, which is a big one. And then we have our summer carnival, which is huge. We have Port Fairy Cup, Woodford Cup, and also the Koroit Cup. So 4 or 5 really big race days for us coming up, which is really exciting.
Oh, that is exciting. Now, Pete, stay with us because one of the most popular segments on Off the Bit is dazzling debuts. And this year, we've let this man, Simon Marshall, loose. Who have you come up with, Steve?
Oh, he's a beautiful chestnut. Let's go back to 2013 at Echuca. There he is out in front. Trust in a Gust making his debut.
Then Ring King, who can't go on. Godavari's running on a bit, and then Apple Thief. It's Trust in a Gust in front, 2 lengths. Second is La Belle Opera. Godavari's run the third. Trust in a Gust, the leader, though. It's mission completed for Michelle Payne. Trust in a Gust home by 4 lengths.
Well, Michelle Payne riding there, punched him out a treat and he went on to win. As you can see, he's had 23 starts for the 10 wins, 6 minor placings, 1.1 million in stake money. His first Group 1 win was the Sir Rupert Clarke Stakes over the 1400, and on the same season he won the Toorak over the mile too. So he was able to stretch himself out over the sprinting distance to the mile. He now stands at Swettenham Stud. What a cracker.
One small issue. That wasn't his debut. That was his third start.
Oh, dazzling. Was it?
It was a dazzling debut win.
It was a dazzling debut.
Dazzling maiden win, yeah.
Oh, just tag the win on the end of it, Simo. Mental note.
We'll work on that for next week, but it was dazzling, no doubt about that. Tweet, thank you for taking the time to come in here. Best of luck with the whole beach issue down there at the Warrnambool area. I'm sure we're all pulling for you, and hopefully we get a good resolution.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me, guys, and I'm sure I'll speak to you a bit more on the radio over the process.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, time for another break here on Off the Bit. If you want to keep up to date with everything on Off the Bit, you can join us on our Facebook page, which is there. On the other side, we will have another special in-studio guest, Connor Ryan from Country Racing Victoria.
Riding the leader from Journey's End. Valdemoro gets out, but she's under the whip and coming. Wider out Definitive. Play right at the 200 from Journey's End. Valdemoro getting hammered down the outside. Definitive. Play right 2 lengths in front. Packing Success. The outside Definitive. It's all play right. Play right for the Vanilla Cup. 3 lengths to Journey's End.
Playwright in 2010 there for Matty Pumper and Steve Richards. Welcome back to Off the Bit, proudly supported by Country Racing Victoria. It's racing the way it's meant to be. It's a great day out. That's got it all. Make sure you go to countryracing.com.au to book now. And speaking of country racing, Connor Ryan joins us from Country Racing. Welcome, Connor. Great to see you here, mate.
Thanks, Michael. It's great to be here. Obviously a great time of year for racing and country racing particularly, with spring upon us and so many great meetings to look forward to.
It is such an exciting time, as you said. We just saw the Benalla Cup back in 2010. Now, this Friday is when the Benalla Cup is due to run. We know we've had a lot of rain in Victoria. Is it in doubt?
Look, it is in doubt because of the forecast. There's a bit of rain due to come in this week, but they're going to give the meeting every chance. The track's actually in good condition, so it's just a matter of surface water. So they'll monitor it in the next couple of days, and look, if they can run it, they will, because it's going to be a big meeting. The grand final Friday, public holiday, is a very popular day. It was a great race day last year, and hopefully it gets up this year. So if you are thinking about going, best thing to do is just follow our social media accounts and keep up to date with all the latest news.
And just on that, there'll be a steward's inspection. Can you give us a bit of an idea when that might happen before you have to pull the pin and say no? Because obviously there's loads of people wanting to come along, marquees and all that sort of stuff with food and fluid. Yeah, it is. I mean, it's a big endeavour to get this Cup Day together. I think they had 5,000 people there last year. It was a massive race day, a massive day for the club, obviously their biggest day for the year. You know, Gumbauer pulled the pin early because they felt they had to, but I think Benalla will give it every chance. So if they can do it, they will. So they'll hold off as long as possible in making that decision.
And Connor, and the Bairnsdale Cup's on Sunday. Is that doubtful?
Look, I think Bairnsdale's going to run on Sunday. They're looking forward to that. So the Paddy's Foods Bairnsdale Cup is what we're talking about. I think we're seeing last year's race day here, won by Bizarka, which was the second Cup win in a row, which was very impressive for Monica Sid and Jai McNeil. But looking forward to that. It's a $50,000 cup over a mile, and it's a big event day down there in Gippsland. So looking forward to the Bairnsdale Cup on Sunday.
Oh, it runs the hair up the spine there. Connor brings back some great memories. Island Spy. David Freegan trained the horse. I ended up winning a nice little watch winning the Bairnsdale Cup.
Did you really?
Day. Yeah, it was a terrific day.
What year?
Michael, it was about 1989, 90.
Well, there's only one man in country racing who probably goes back further than you and knows a lot about that, and that is the man who is synonymous with the Gumbauer Cup. Now, we're going to introduce Jack Styring on the phone in a moment, but for those of you who want a refresher of what Jack and Gumbauer are all about, have a look at this vision from 1984.
Just about, I'd say, to put his hand on the lever of the starter. The light is on, and they're racing. And the Saracen Amir was one of the best to begin, obviously, because he led on settling down. Oh, it would have been the Prim Boy, and further out, too. Coming home very nicely is Otway Prince. Grey Barada in front on the outside, Otway Prince, and Regal Reformer photo. And possibly Regal Reformer's just beaten Otway Prince with Grey Barada third.
There's no doubt about it. It is an iconic voice, and he joins us on the line. Jack, how are you?
Not bad, thank you. Not bad at all.
It is great to have a chat to you on Off the Bit because you personify country racing, especially the Gunbower Cup. Unfortunately, it's been postponed this year, but you are in the Guinness World Records for the most number of consecutive Gunbower Cups. How many did you call in the end?
60.
Goodness me, Jack, that's a phenomenal effort. Tell us a little bit about the day, the track itself, and it sounds like you get up and about for the Cup too on your calling there.
Oh, well, it was a great occasion, simply because I suppose that having called so many Cups, Scobie Breesley came up one year. I brought Scobie up. Ronnie Hutchinson came along. Rod Johnson. You know, there were a lot of notable people who came up to that particular meeting. I don't think... I think it changed. They used to have a ball on a Friday night and in Gunbower itself. Well, that ceased. Committees changed, different ideas. But it was always a very, very good day. And they transferred the meeting from January to the Turnbull Stakes Day in the spring for the reason it was usually very hot and the flies nearly carry you away.
Jack, I know that you called most of my family. I think you called Pop and Mum and Dad. How was that?
What was that again?
I think you've called most of my family as jockeys, my mum and my dad.
Yes. Well, of course, that's right. I remember your great-grandfather.
Yes.
Of a Darlington Point.
Jack, you're known for your special calls and the sayings in races. Can you just give us a couple of your favourites?
Oh, well, I don't know about that. I suppose, what would be... They're running along that slow that you'd keep up there on a punctured bicycle. That might have been one. Oh, they used to... I could run them off, but it's a long time since I've called now. The last race meeting I called was in 1980... No, I'm sorry. 2000... God, I can't even think now.
Well, it doesn't matter, Jack, because we know all about it. We've read about it in the Guinness World Records, and it is a pleasure to have you on the show. I know you'll be at Gunbower when they reschedule this year's Gunbower Cup, and we love seeing you at the track every Saturday as well. Thanks for joining us on Off the Bit, Jack.
Good luck. Bye now.
Jack Styring there. Just quickly, Simon, give me your favourite Jack Styring.
He's pulled the shillelagh and it's not to keep the fillets away.
Caitlin?
And they're going straight as a gun barrel.
Have you got anything, Connor?
No, I wouldn't dare, mate. He's
Okay. No, that's fine. Connor, thank you for taking the time to come in and look at the week ahead in country racing. It is really hotting up, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely it is, Michael. We're at Bendigo on Thursday, then hopefully at Benalla on Friday for the Sportsbet Benalla Gold Cup. Sunday, the Paddy's Foods Bairnsdale Cup's another great meeting, and then race days at Echuca and still coming up. So, you know, just keep an eye on the weather and keep an eye on our website, countryracing.com.au, and keeping abreast of any changes. But hopefully we'll see a big Cup day at Benalla on Friday.
And we look forward to your regular updates on Off the Bit each and every week, keeping us up to date with everything that is happening in country racing in Victoria. Taking a break on the other side of this, Maddie Campbell from Crownbet will give us all the latest odds and hopefully find us a winner or two. Welcome back to Off the Bit, and the money man, Matty Campbell from Crownbet joins us. Crownbet, reward yourself. Hello, Matty, great to have you here.
Yes, good to be here. I got the memo.
Yes, exactly
same
right.
as yourself with the pink shirt, but I didn't get a rundown. Look, I've got nothing. Can you see that, Rowdy?
Flying blind.
I never followed anyway. So there you go, mate.
Let's get into some racing.
What a huge weekend we've got. We've got the Friday, the Saturday and the Sunday. Let's kick it off on Friday night with a Moya, and I can't recall a better Moya.
Well, the Great Chautauqua at $2.50. I mean, that's a price. A lot of people would have thought, oh, I'll take $2.50. You've got Extreme Choice, the question mark up against the older horses. Lucky Hustler's a Group 1 winner. And, of course, you've got the Great Buffering. So it's a sensational race, isn't it? So it's a question as a punter whether you want to take the $2.50 I'd be leaning towards it first up with the Great Grey.
Oh yeah, he's flying too, and he looks magnificent.
At this stage, who do you like?
Oh, Chautauqua sitting off that hop bend for sure for me, because he's foolproof. You know what you're going to get, and he's brilliant first up, and the valley suits him because there's always speed to burn up in front.
Great to watch, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
When he winds up.
Heatherly's in there too.
It's going to be a hectic race, isn't it? Speed-wise.
Speed-wise, yeah.
it's going to suit Chautauqua.
Yep.
All right. On Saturday, the focus turns to Sydney. Cracking Group 1's up there, and have a look at this. The Epsom. Can the Vic Palantino beat Haraki?
Well, that's the question, isn't it? We know how good Palantino was at Flemington, but the gear change and going to Sydney the other way around, we don't know. You wouldn't get 550 if it's at Flemington, but Haraki's going beautifully, and that's an open race, as the betting suggests.
Geez, McQuarrie too. McIntosh is brilliant first.
Happy Clapper goes all right.
Waller's got the assault going on, and I think Happy Clapper's been aimed to the race. He's drawn beautifully in one, although he's a big horse and likes a bit of galloping room. This hot speed in this, I think, will suit him. But Palantino with the blinkers on, how will he go? I think with a quirky horse like him, it might just stimulate the stallion and bring him on going right-handed. And you know, Weary hasn't won a race in Sydney yet.
That's another one, isn't it?
Amazing.
Another story.
He could break his duck with a Group 1. And what about Darren Galley from Country Racing Victoria?
Oh! He's been on the treadmill all week, just training up there to swan around Sydney in the new suit, eh? All the team with Palantino. Great luck to you, Darren. He's been a great horse.
Absolutely. One of the other major features is the Group 1 Metrop. I wonder if we'll get anything coming out of this race who could be a contender during the Spring Carnival down here.
Just don't know with this race. I'm just not sure. I mean, you know, it's $4.80 the field. I'm finding it hard to get a read on. I mean, Antonio Giuseppe was impressive up on the speed, but just don't know how it's going to line up.
Generally, form holds this time of the year, and Antonio Giuseppe, the way he powered to the line, albeit he beat nothing, but I like the way he's gallop out. It hits the wire and he gallops right out. The horse, for me, was a little bit of weight for age under his belt, although he's been getting spanked, is Who Shot the Barman.
Who Shot the Barman, yeah.
Now that he steps up to the right distance for him, he's the one for mine.
And on Sunday we have the Group 1 Turnbull at Flemington. Matty, be interested to see your market here because Hartnell comes down to take on the best we have down here.
Well, on what we're seeing with Hartnell, $2.30 is a gift. I mean, we're talking about Hartnell v Winks. I mean, Jamaica was sensational the other day, and we know Jamaica's en route to the Caulfield Cup, but $2.30. Awesome Rock, I mean, it was a little bit disappointing last weekend, so that's why you get your $13. He or she okay at 13. Our Ivanhoe, what is the race for our Ivanhoe?
Yeah.
Is it the Turnbull? Likes Flemington.
Well, he's a Flemington horse, which will suit him. Set Square is the best value in the race for me if she can get some galloping room there, I would think.
Didn't have a lot of luck last time out, did it?
No, she didn't. She covered too much ground.
Do you think that Hartnell can bring the form down from Sydney?
Yep, I do. What we've seen the last two starts from Hartnell, I mean, there was plenty left in the tank both times.
Might be a firmer track at Flemington. It's going to be interesting, isn't it? Who do you want to ride, Katie?
Well, I mean, I definitely wouldn't knock back the ride on Hartnell, but he's still not proven in Melbourne. He's come down here before and didn't quite like it, so it's going to be an interesting race.
Matty, good luck over the weekend. Huge weekend at Crownbet because we've got the AFL and the NRL Grand Finals as well.
Yeah, no sleep on the weekend, and I'll see Simo about 3 times on the weekend.
Yeah, in the virtual room. He looks great. He's like he's on the
Atari coverage. Make sure you tune in as well as watching the races here on racing.com. We're going to take our final break. Matty, we will see you again next week, and don't forget Crownbet Rewards. Join today at crownbet.com.au and reward yourself. On the other side of this, Simon Says. Welcome back to Off the Bet. I hope you're enjoying the show, and this is where we let Simon off the leash. Simon Says, take it away.
Oh, it's a big show, this one, and in honour of the great Jack Styring, let's crack into it. Simon Says this week's. Well, I'll tell you what, the good has been the sharing of the load, obviously with the inclement weather and the racetracks and the synthetic tracks. Heads up to you, to Pakenham and also Geelong. Congratulations there. Now, the bad, obviously, sign-off. We've heard this morning, Michael, on your show on RSN that Darren Weir has aborted all plans for spring. Sign-off's hurt himself again, and to Harry Coffey, keep your chin up, young fella. We were really looking forward to that journey. But anyway, we always have a spring prediction and one to follow. Let's go back to Mornington earlier in the week. There she is, out in front, Phil Champagne from the Paddy Highland stable. This was a 5th start. She beat a nice filly in Piccadilly's, running second. Prior to that, she ran second to Exocet, who stepped out and won at Caulfield. Frank the Form, she's one of the favourites for the Edward Manifold coming up there, Michael.
Yeah,
Phil
I
Champagne.
I like that one. I like that. And don't forget, Simon's prediction of Phil Champagne for the spring is brought to you by Drinkwise and their country racing tips. Remember, you won't miss a moment if you drink wise. It's been a great first show, guys. Katie, thank you for having you on board. We look forward to having you throughout the Spring Carnival on Off the Bit.
Thank you. It's great to be here. I can't wait to this weekend's racing.
Yep, absolutely, Caitlin, and great luck to you as you ride through. I know that Lloyd Williams has got a couple of nice horses coming up for you. Michael, it's always good to get the first one out, throw the cobwebs away.
Plenty of great racing this weekend and plenty more country cups to come. So make sure you stick with us on Off the Bit each and every week as we bring you up to date with all the latest in country racing in Victoria.